Hello and welcome to another Max and Power video. I'm Paul. Today I just want to do a quick video looking at my current N64 collection. The N64 is a console that I've owned now for probably about just over a year, something like that. But I don't actually spend too much time on it. Growing up as a kid, I went down the PlayStation route, like a lot of people did. I know there's obviously some N64 fans out there, but for some reason, it just didn't appeal to me when I was a kid. So over the last year or so, I've been picking up a few games. I know that I've quickly, when I've done videos on looking around the games room, briefly shown them, but just to give a few initial thoughts, because some of these I've hardly played them at all. So most of my games are boxed, like my Super Nintendo collection. I do like the N64 boxes, because it is that sort of throwback to, a cardboard box. Granted, they get knackered quite easily and everything, so as a collector you do want to try and keep them in best nick you can. So anyway, with the Kart only ones, this one I picked up basically just for a games night for only a couple of quid. It's International Superstar Soccer 98. Nothing that I'm a massive fan of or anything, but it was just like a mate was really into it. He said back at college, so I picked it up for a couple of quid and then he battered us all on it. Not played it since, but I know that it's obviously held in quite high regard. Next up we have got Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, one of the first titles for the N64. Couldn't get off level 1. Granted, I've only had 2 goes. But again, that's meant to be a really good game, but I just really struggled to get into it. Maybe I should have another go on it. We have WCW NWO Revenge. That was picked up. I'm sure it was only about 3 quid off Southern Retro Games about a year or so ago. Again, I know it's not the best wrestling game on the N64. Come to that in a few minutes. But for a few quid, worth picking up, having a quick go on it. And then the other cart only is game Body Harvest, which has always tempted me because I wanted to try it. It's done by DMA Design, obviously going on then to become Rockstar. Bit of label damage on the back, but again, I think it was only about 4 or 5 quid. But I've never had a chance to play it yet. There's going to be a bit of a sort of ongoing theme. Still not played it. I suppose that's what I'm getting to in doing this video, because in 2016, what we're in now, I'm hoping to actually sit down and actually try some of these games, as well as get through looking at it now, a massive backlog of me Super Nintendo stuff as well. So anyway, going to the box games. One game I have spent a bit of time on since I did pick this up a while back, probably about over a year ago now, Banjo Kazooie. Which is boxed in very good condition. Again, I'm not going to start opening them up, but it's box complete and everything. Banjo Kazooie, obviously a fantastic platformer, done by Rare. I don't know, there's obviously loads and loads of stuff to collect in the game. I know that's put some people off, but it's got a charm about it. It's definitely one of the best 3D platformers I've played, because when you have a look at some of the early 3D platformers, I'll get to a massive bone of contention in a few minutes. The camera angles are just all over the place, but with Banjo Kazooie we seem to have got it nailed on. Never played the sequel. I know it's cost quite a lot of money, so who knows, if I do get into the N64 stuff, maybe that is a future buy. Moving on. This is a game I'm not keen on at all. Donkey Kong 64. Again, box complete. I think I spent about 20 quid on this. It really is in good condition, and it's still sealed at one end. Nobody will be able to really tell there. So yeah, it has been looked after. It didn't come with the expansion pack. That is something that where is it? That I did buy separately. With again in really good box condition, which comes with the little tool to wiggle out your your jump pack. But yeah, it's Donkey Kong 64. Just I don't know. I enjoyed the Donkey Kong Country games on the SNES, but Donkey Kong 64 just really struggled to get into it, you know, and it's obviously by Rare as well. I don't know, there's just something, I mean, you might just think I'm being mad, but I'm really not impressed by that game, you know. I gave it an hour or so, but no, not into it. Next up, one of the games which there's a lot of fans of, again, another Rare game, Goldeneye. Again, boxed, in very good condition. I think this came from my local game shop. Goldeneye, again, played on a games night, you know, a 4-player type thing. It's sort of go-to multiplayer game, you know. It sort of broke down a lot of, well, no, it's got to start again. Basically, it's sort of one of those, you know, first go-to multiplayer games, you know, when it comes to all the shoot-em-ups, you know, like how now we've got your Call of Duty and everything. Never actually played the single mission, you know, campaign, so I can't really comment on that. It just seems to be picked up cheap just to go on it, you know, when I've got mates around. I suppose that's one of the good things about the N64, that, you know, it's 4 players, and just proper, you know, multiplayer gaming, you know, how it used to be. So yeah, I will give it a try. I know Phil's really not into it. Moving on though to a game which I've played quite a bit and absolutely love, Mario Kart 64. At some point I will get these old stickers off, 50 quid, which I suppose that's not too bad for Electronics Boutique, or £9.99 if you trade in 2 games. So again, all box complete, very good condition and everything. I think that's another reason why, even if I don't go on them, I find it hard to get rid of at the moment, because if I do decide to, you know, start building up a decent size N64 collection, you know, be there in good condition. But yeah, Mario Kart 64, big jump from the Super Nintendo version, and just a really good, you know, racing game, just fun again, and 4 players, so it's got everything you want. I mean, my favourite Mario Kart game is still the Double Dash on the GameCube. Absolutely loved that, spent so long on it, you know. I'm never going to say mastering courses, I don't really get that good at any game, but yeah, Mario Kart 64, obviously one of those that you've definitely got to have in your collection. Now, next up, I picked this up because it was £6. Never played it, so I think I'm going to get this. Not November last year, November before, so God, about 15 months ago. NBA Jam 99. Picked this up, I think, yeah, about £6. Someone called Keith Van Horn on the cover. NBA Jam, I used to play quite a bit on the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive. So I don't know what it was like, you know, in the 32-bit era, because I never played it on the PlayStation either. But again, for a box N64 game at that price, I thought it was worth picking up and giving it a try. Next up, another shoot 'em up, another game by Rare. We have got Perfect Dark. Never played this at all. Again, owned for over a year. It needs basically the expansion pack, which luckily I've got if you want to get the most out of this game. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So to do 1-player solo missions, you had to have the expansion pack. Give me all the little information there on the back. I tell you what, I bet loads of those were brought back, you know, like if anyone got it at Christmas and birthdays, you know, from family members. Rated 18s, BBFC 18s, so maybe it is really violent, and, you know, a lot different to Goldeneye, which isn't rated 18, no. I did play the Perfect Dark Zero on the Xbox 360 when that came out, and that's the only experience I've got of Perfect Dark. I think we did a Game Boy Color version as well, which I've never played, so I can't really comment on that. Anyway, going on. Next up, Pilotwings 64. Again, one of the early release games. This was £8 from one of the games events last year. I had it Kart only. So obviously I just upgraded that and got rid of my Kart only one for a few quid. Pilotwings 64, never played it, but I loved Pilotwings on the SNES, so I thought, yeah, okay, give that a try. It's you know, like one of the first party Nintendo games. Nice little touch having Mario's face in the rocks there on the back. This is what I mean, I've got to try some of these games. And here's yet another one, bought almost a year ago now. When was it? It was the Video Games Market in Leeds last February. So yeah, more or less a year ago. 15 quid I paid for Snowboard Kids. Yeah, Snowboard Kids. Now I know the second one is stupidly rare and sells for a lot of money. But I've not even played this one, so I don't really have to bother myself thinking, you know, what if I ever want that. Snowboard Kids, bit of a scribbed out barcode there on the back. Done by Atlas. 4 players, again, compatible with Rumble Pack. It looks okay, looks bright, colourful and everything like that. So I don't know if you guys have played it, let us know what you think. Or is an idea, maybe I should just actually load it up myself and then tell you guys what I think, you know. Anyway, I'm babbling. Next up we have got Mario 64, a game I've never really got on with at all. This is what I was on about before. I don't like the camera angles. I know it's always seen as like one of the all-time classic games, but really don't like it. Even when the DS came out, I bought Mario 64 DS for that and just really struggled with it. I just can't get into that game. I did, you know, get to, well, past the first sort of like world level-y type thing. But yeah, not impressed at all. But I just feel like, you know, you need to have the Mario games. Saying that, I've not got any of the Mario parties. I have owned them in the past. But yeah, nah, I don't think I'd really go back to Mario 64. Next up, a game that I've had one quick go on, but was absolutely awful. 1080 Snowboarding. Again, it's like more or less mint condition. You know, there's no creasing or scuffing on the boxes. I think it came from the same lot of the local game shop that I went to, and you know, someone had traded in quite a few. So 1080 Snowboarding, held again quite high regard from what I seem to remember. Not 4-player, 2-player this one. I think the only snowboarding games that I've spent time on really is the SSX series, you know, on the PlayStation. Well, PlayStation 2. It was cool borders, wasn't it, on PlayStation 1? So I'm having a conversation with myself. Right, almost finished. Next up we have got, again, a game I don't get on with very well, Wave Race 64. I know there's a lot of fans of it. It's like bashing now on corner, nothing major. Wave Race 64, really struggle to play that game. I don't know if it's controls, but it's just something where I just don't enjoy it. Next up, the wrestling game of choice. I think this was bought off eBay. It's WWF No Mercy. The PlayStation had the SmackDown games, and then No Mercy came out on the N64. A lot of people think No Mercy is a better game. It is absolutely fantastic. It's got a massive roster of wrestlers, which, you know, back then was like a massive thing, because when you go back to 16-bit era and you've got, you know, your Super Nintendo, your Mega Drive ones, you had about 8 wrestlers to choose from, which still wasn't that bad, but with this you could really get into it and unlock stuff and, you know, make your own wrestlers. Fantastic. Knackered box, well, compared to the others, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. And finally, we have got, again, a little bit of scuff, but I put it into a plastic protection case, Zelda Ocarina of Time, a game not spent any time with at all. I think I loaded it up on my JXD, but I think with this I actually want to play it on the N64. I know it's always rated in the top, you know, 5 of any games lists. So yeah, that is something that I really do need to get into, as well as all the other games that I've mentioned. So yeah, that's just it. That's what I picked up really on the N64 in the last, what, year and a half, and I've got tons to play on there. Turned into a nice collection, just actually need to play it, you know. Anyway, that's all from me. Again, comment if you can, subscribe to the channel, listen to the show. The new episode 17, is now live, which is basically got myself, Phil, and some community picks from choosing some of their favourite pieces of game music. So we've got stuff like Commodore 64 stuff, PlayStation, PlayStation 3, Dreamcast, all sorts, and PC as well. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. See you soon. Bye.